Hi friends, today is a special day. It is my youngest sister's birthday today. And I want to share a little bit with you about my younger sister and about my relationship with her. And I have to be the one to do it because my sister is no longer with us. She has been gone now for about 10 years. So my sister was born on December 30th in 1984. I was 6 years old when she was born. 4 days later, I turned 7 years old. When my mother brought her home, I was over the moon. She was a beautiful baby. You know, I was just a young girl. It was like having a live baby doll around for me. I loved it. And she grew into a darling little toddler. She had curly hair. My mom would fix her hair in pigtails, and she had a little dimple in her face, and she was just a fun little girl, and she was creative, and she was sweet, and she was silly. And she created her own little language when she was young, and she really brought a lot of joy into our lives. As all children do, my youngest sister, her name is Andrea, by the way, she grew into an adult, and Andrea grew into a very beautiful young woman. She was quite striking. She was very striking, very beautiful. She is someone who would demand attention anytime she walked into a room. She is someone that you would find yourself looking at just because she was such a beautiful woman. Now, I'm not sure when this happened or what happened exactly, but it is my personal belief that when my sister reached probably around her late teens, something traumatic happened to her. She almost went from being like a happy-go-lucky, cute young woman to a woman who was a young woman who was self-destructing. She started having an eating disorder. She began drinking heavily. She began using illegal drugs. And it was just one destructive, self-destructive behavior really after the next, and it would kind of cycle. Now, when I was about 27 years old, let's see, Andrea would have been about 20 years old. So, well, she would have been 20 years old. So during this time, something really ugly happened between us. And I'm not telling you this story to make my sister look bad, because in all honesty, I was making terrible choices of my own during this time. And at this time, my sister decided to make a decision, and she really betrayed me. And I was very, very hurt by what she did. I remember having a conversation with her, and the conversation really went nowhere. And by the time we hung up, I texted her and I told her that she was not my sister, that a sister of mine would not do what she had done. Unfortunately, looking back now, I can tell you I was being terribly hypocritical, because I had also been making choices in my life that betrayed people who trusted me. And so I'm not proud of that, but I wasn't healthy enough at that point to look at my own choices objectively and offer her any kind of understanding. So I cut her out of my life for a time. I am not really sure to this day. I don't know how long we went without talking. I can't remember. I want to say it was probably between 9 months to a year that we didn't speak. And we started speaking again because she texted me and she apologized for what she had done. And I decided at that time that I would have a relationship with my sister again, but I would keep her at arm's length, and I wouldn't fully trust her with the intimate details of my life. So, you know, she would be allowed back in my life, but not in a full context. I would have to have boundaries with her. And so we did, and that's the way our relationship went for, you know, several years. And then one evening I was sitting in my living room. I was watching television, and my sister sent me a text message, and she just asked me what I was doing. I told her I was watching television, and I asked her what she was doing. And she said, "I'm just missing my sister." And I said, "Oh, that's sweet." I said, "I miss you too." And She said, "Elisa, I'm afraid that things will never be the same between you and I since I did what I did." And I told her at that point, I don't know how many years had passed at this point, maybe 3 or 4 years, I don't remember. And I just told my sister, hey, I don't ever think about it anymore, and you shouldn't either. Let's move on. I didn't want to shame my sister. I don't want to be shamed in my own life for the poor choices that I've made, and I didn't want to shame her any longer either. And so I was very, very fortunate. After this happened, it set off a really strange time for me. I've never before had this happen, and I've never since had this happen. But after she and I had the conversation, probably the next week, I started having a really strong sensation of death come over me. And it was so strong that I truly believed my own death was imminent. I believed I was going to die. I believed it so strongly, and I was so convinced and compelled by this feeling that I wrote my children letters. I told them how much I loved them, how much I enjoyed being their mother. I told them all the wonderful things I see about their character, told them my hopes for them for the future. And I even went so far as to tell the gentleman that I was dating back then that if something happened to me and I died, I wanted to have a ring put on my finger. And it wasn't very long after this conversation with my sister that my mother called. She called me on September 11th of all days in 2010. And the police had just been over to her house and told her that my sister had died in a car accident. She had been driving intoxicated, and she rolled her vehicle, and she was gone. I mean, you'd think I would have been a little more prepared because of the feelings that I had of death, but I'm not sure there's anything that can prepare you for that. And I just remember feeling so shocked. I was shocked. I was in a state of anxiety for, I think, about 3 days, to where I felt like I couldn't get a deep breath. I couldn't catch my breath. It was really strange. But I share this story with you because I feel so very fortunate that I had that last conversation with my sister, to where there was no anger, to where there was, forgiveness on both of our parts, to where there was grace. And to this day, I feel very, very, very blessed that conversation happened, and that I didn't have to say goodbye to my sister, feeling that I had not fully forgiven her for the thing that she did that hurt me so much. And I'm so grateful that I got to a point too where I could really look at my own self and understand what a hypocrite I was being to punish her for the same thing that I had done to other people, really. So I encourage you to put past grievances aside, put them behind you, do what you can to reconcile with the people that you can. And I understand there are people that you just can't reconcile with, that you have to keep at arm's length, that you have to have boundaries with, and that's fine. But if you're doing that too, search your heart and don't let bitterness or anger for something that's been wrong to you dwell too long inside of you. We're not promised another day. We never are. I mean, we don't know how much time we have, and each moment, every day is a gift. And so treat it as though it's a gift, because to this day, I still am sad. I miss my sister. I am sad that I feel like I will grow into an old woman without her, that I will never see her be truly happy. I'll never see her marry. I will not know any people who might have been her children. And I feel like her life is something that was robbed from the rest of us. So appreciate each other, love each other. You guys, I hope that you have all a wonderful and very safe New Year's, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.